2015, and I want to talk quickly today about what makes us different and how to use the Bulletproof Shield to prove that. I have found myself a couple times recently getting asked by people I've been put on calls with, is this like so and so? Or I've heard of this, is it kind of like that? Basically, other direct sales companies that are focused on health and wellness. And to be honest with you, that question is pretty easy for me to answer because I personally have never used any other supplements. I've never been associated with any other direct sales. So I truly don't know anything about those. So it's pretty easy for me to answer the question with, well, honestly, I really don't know about that, but here's why I chose Advocare. And you may also notice, I know I have, that there's a lot of Facebook activity from my friends out there in the world joining other network marketing companies sometimes, not necessarily having anything to do with health, wellness, supplements, anything like that, but I tend to see things that they do and say publicly, and I think to myself, I'm so glad we don't market that way. I'm so glad we don't follow those strategies. I'm so glad Jesse taught us better than that, because I see things that just completely turn me off from ever wanting to try whatever it is they're selling. You often take your first impression of someone by that. So how does the Bulletproof Shield relate to that? Well, a lot of times you're going to get asked, the questions I said earlier, but also, well, how do I know if this stuff works? Or, so how do I know you're not just trying to make money off of me? Well, first of all, we're not in the business of convincing anyone of anything. We're there to show them the truth. We're going to lay out their options for them and guide them towards their best decision. One of the ones I like to use is our endorsers. And really, personally, where I live geographically in the United States, I don't really have to go too far outside of, well, have you ever heard of Drew Brees, the quarterback for the New Orleans Saints? Generally speaking, yes, they have. Well, he's our national spokesperson. He's been using the products since I was in high school. And if they're good enough for him, I think surely they're good enough for me. I'm the kind of person I don't really take myself too seriously. People get that from me pretty quickly. So generally that gets a laugh and like, oh, well, yeah, you're right. Also, there's a satisfaction guarantee on our products. I've never had to use that in 2.5 years, but you never know. Someone may feel assured knowing that there is a 100% money back guarantee. If someone is a retail customer, they're entitled to get their money back. If they're not happy with the products, they have 365 days to use it, sell it, or send it back. I think that gives comfort to people sometimes. Honestly, I knew when I got my products in, I was going to use them. So I was determined to make the best of what I had, but that's comforting to people sometimes. Finally, your story plus 2 others. Most of the time when we're out in the world talking to people about Advocare and what makes it different, we generally already know why it's different. We've at least had a spark. We've at least, maybe lost a couple pounds on products. Even if you haven't, that's okay, because you can invoke the story of 2 others or as many others as you want. It's part of the success system. And, hey, I don't know why such and such didn't work for you, but let me tell you what Advocare's done for me. With my first week on products, I was already down several inches in my waist. Within a day of drinking Spark, I felt like a human again. That's a pretty simple story, but that's how we know it's different. And it's just a matter of getting that message across to people. So make sure that you are different, that you do reflect the culture of Advocare. And when you've been around long enough, there's no doubt in your mind that we are different. We're different than any other product. We're different than any other direct sales company, and we're generally different than other groups of people. There's just so many good quality people here that we represent every day when we wear our colors, when we're out in the world talking about Advocare. Make sure that you're a reflection of that too. We don't badmouth other companies ever for any reason. We really shouldn't post articles on why certain supplements have been banned and say, oh, well, we're so much better than this. There's no need to draw attention to any of that stuff. There's really not. We have enough positivity to stand on and so many years of background and good science. We don't have to do that kind of stuff. It's sort of like politicians playing dirty. So you will never find me in a discussion on why X company is bad. I'm just not going to do that. And people see that and they respect that. And I think that that's something that you will use forever in your Advocare business, because direct sales as a whole, I think, is probably growing. You see these companies pop up and ultimately sometimes disappear, but there's some that have been around for many years that people are familiar with, even when they're not familiar with us. So we have to make sure that we are a good reflection of Advocare as a whole, and we tell only the truth, because that's really all we need, especially when we use the Bulletproof Shield. So thank you guys. I hope you have a great weekend and continue to be different.